Alright, good day guys, come here, welcome back to part 2 of Langrisser M news from the future for the month of September 2025 to October 2025, coming to you from the CN server, the new heroine release, or should I say the first pack of heroes or heroine release from the journey to 8.0. So right, this is part 2, and this cute lady you're looking at right now will be the second heroine that is being released for this month of September to October in the CN server. She's none other than Miss Bianca, and you guys will be surprised on whom her voice actress is in a while. Because I'm kind of like, I don't really know her, but I was told that she has been very, very famous among the newer generations. Oh gosh, I'm old. So alright, before we carry on, the great thanks for information chat and provided by the Langrisser mobile app, So are you guys ready? So before we carry on, the video will be split into 3 parts. First part, intro of the characters. Part 2, further backstories perhaps. Then followed by the talent, factions, talent, trees, exclusive skills, 3Cs. And on part 3, beginning to understand further elaborations about the pros and cons and how the gimmick works for the characters. Let's go. So Bianca, yeah, definitely like this character. The design, yeah, despite this a female characters, I gotta say, as a guy, she's a great asset. Same as Sibylle, both of them. One is like an One-san characters, your elder sister, that kind of looks a bit more sadistic because she don't like humans, and this looks more like your caring elder sister or younger sisters. But I gotta say, I can't help myself but to keep looking not at her figure, but oh my god, her actual weapon and the armor. I gotta say, since in the past to, like, you know, over the course of 30 years of the Langrisser, the start of Langrisser to now, the Echo of Toy War arc has actually given the Empire characters like one of the best design. Yeah, it's either better, but in my opinion, is currently like one of the best design. It's like almost yeah, they're wearing like full armor, full battle or order armor, instead of, like, you know, other characters only wearing shoulder pads and the rest is very lightweight. So this is Bianca, and by the looks of it, she holds her shoes on the left arm, so I'll just let the cat out of the box. She is both an offensive attacker and also a tanker, so she can go both way. I guess it's the first time Zong trying to make a more versatile and perhaps generic characters, which we will find out on part 2. And with the release of Bianca, just my 2 cents thought, this really is like a mirror world or alternate universe of Langrisser 2, in my opinion, because the characters are also set similar to the Empire side from Langrisser 2. Like, we have Tyrant Tail as the Emperor being disclosed thus far. Then, in my opinion, Langrisser 2, they have the Heavenly Four Dragons commanders under Emperor Bernhard. So we have like Leon is a cavalry, and on contrary to this, we have Andril, who is a cavalry knight. Then followed by, we have one lady strategist in Langrisser 2, Imelda, aka Ice Queen. So the counterpart here will be Seraphina. Then we have Egbert, the Dark Dragons in Langrisser 2. So the counterpart here, I might be right, I might be wrong. Perhaps in future they might release more mage in further arc, because there's a few worlds they still got to go. But currently, that's why we have Patricia, the daughter of Tyrant Tails, who is in charge of the mage, commanding the mage group. So, and last but not least, with the latest entry, we have Bianca, which is supposed to be a counterpart of Papa Vargas, perhaps, as the tanker. So definitely you can see a lot of opposite against them, like Leon, etc. They kind of like purely have this chivalry or cavalry styles, fighting fair and squares, but Andrew is just anything as the Emperor says. Then of course he'll fight fair and square, as long as it's not under the Emperor's order. Then we have Imelda versus Seraphinas. Imelda has been kind of like a more outspoken, despite some of the sadistic feature which both of them shares, but Imelda tends to do things in the bright side, like trying to fight fair and square, or at least I'm gonna like tell you guys I'm gonna fight against you, whereas Seraphinas is more sinister like. So currently, even as the story goes, we are not sure if she will 100% be indeed be loyal to the Empire itself, or she might be another spawn or pawn sent from the dark side. Then, okay, Egbert. Then we have Egbert versus Patricia. So Egbert is like the brain of the smartest guy among the team, and using a lot of dark magic, were willing to sacrifice his body, his soul for greater powers. But for Patricia, she's not willing to, like, sacrifice her team. She's kind of more well, tsundere characters, but she's like, unlike Egbert, not power thirsty, and she cares a lot for her own team. Despite on front, she tried to act like she will do anything to gain attention and power from her dad, but that's not really true. And deep inside, she is kind of kind-hearted. And needless to say, the last one, Bianca versus Vargas, the hair. Yep, the hair. Papa Vargas is bald, and look at the nice, pretty double twin tail drill hair Bianca has. I'm not sure if I should call it drill hair, but oh my god, double twin tail full of long hair that is like very similar to Amelia's design. And of course, if not said, so it's just how I feel. So the Heavenly Fall and the King has fully been released, so I'm not sure what's more to come from the Empire team. Of course, we can definitely stay tuned for more as the arc is still ongoing. And alright, Bianca, she's voiced by none other than, okay, I'm not sure if she's married, so we're addressing her as Miss Aimi Tanaka-san. And ta-da! I do not watch the anime on the left, and I have not yet watched the latest series from ReZero, so I do not know about these two characters, but I have definitely seen them on online trailers, certain anime events, so I have some minor knowledge. So on the left, it's Himoto Umaru-chan, and this is Umaru Doma. I know this character, like this anime where this younger sister character will like switch between the normal human figures, and when she tried to slack at home, she'll just like turn into these chibi figures. That's all I know. It's like a slice of life with some a lot of jokes and stuff. So yeah, and on the right, it's from ReZero. ReZero. Okay, Isekai Life on Another World, season 2. She's voicing this character, Lutz Bilma. I'm not sure if I pronounce it right. Oh gosh. So, oh yeah, Ryuzu. Sorry, it's pronounced Ryuzu Mayer. But okay, what Chinese word seems to pronounce right as Biana. That's oh well, and okay then some backstories. Okay, trying my best to do some translations. I gotta say, the last one from Sibylle, it's freaking long and kind of hard because of the, I gotta say, the harder word they use that I don't get to see it in everyday life. So here we go. In the Empire's Iron Blood platoon, someone's fight for glory, and someone is forced to fight. However, she choose a different choice. She choose to fight for rations. Her dream is, when I get to retire, I hope to get a very thick amount of support. And when we talk about, so right, the support we talk about here is of course those retirement fee that we are talking about, money or food, etc. So yep, this is how the personality of Bianca. So she's a person who is well, on the looks and design, she seems cheerful and she do it for food. Okay, the word they use is jinxiang. Jinxiang, it's loosely more translated as, let me double confirm, hang on guys. Oh sorry, military pay, my bad, military pay. So money from army. Yep, so she worked for money. She's trying to be like a office salary worker by working in the camp. Like, oh my god, she's using her life to get a pay of her salary, man. This is very weird. So this is again different in characteristics in comparisons to Papa Vargas fighting for honor and for all the men he leads and protect. So yep. Okay, let's check out. She only has one relationship that is currently disclosed, and that is surprisingly Serafina. So okay, let's read out some of the backstories before a speech from Serafina. So Bianca used to be stationed at the camp of under the camp at a camp led by Serafina, but her gentle characters, in comparisons to the Empire's executioners, sadistics, and cold style of acting, cannot be matched. There's no way they can work together. So at the end, Bianca is being transferred to another sections. However, during the short period of staying and working under Serafina has nonetheless led Bianca deeply notice the cruelty of war is never fighting up front against the enemy on war. So yep. Okay, let me double check. So Yep, the first part is showing, saying that Bianca used to be put under her unit led by Serafina's, but due to her gentle natures, it doesn't work well. She doesn't. They're not compatible because Serafina is a sadistic girl, a lady, as we have seen in the story or even at the early story of arc. So no spoilers. Then for Bianca, she has a gentle natures, and so she's not able to. She's not a good compatibility with Serafina, so she got transferred. But during the short stay, she still learned some harsh truth from Serafina's, and that is the cruelty of the war is never fight about the enemies that fight up front with you. So perhaps what is describing here is fighting an enemy up front or fair and square is not a cruelty fact. Perhaps the cruelty fact has been kind of like what Serafina has been doing underneath, backstabbing and all the bad stuff. Of course, this is just my own interpretations. Okay, speech from Serafina's. As a bait, you're perfect, but as my subordinate, you are too soft. Facing enemy sympathy, especially the weakness of betrayal, is nothing but toxic or poison. So, yep, this is something that Serafina's talk about. However, I got to say just my thoughts. It's since Bianca has service under Serafina's hand before or works under her, I can't help but suspect that Bianca might be more than Miss Di under the, as what is described here. She's being a kind and nice, gentle lady. Perhaps she might be a personal spy assistant, specially trained and sent by Serafina. Because I know anyone who can work under Serafina, it's that definitely they're kind of more than mid-ZI. So I can't help but suspect that it's a plot or it's a ploy that Serafina has been doing. But of course, this is just my interpretations. And ta-da! This is the art, the chibi art by Miao Xiaotu, Grande Curry, Liana. So, yep. I gotta say, I really like the flame blade and the shoe given to it. It's like, oh my god, this definitely costs like more than 10,000 USD. I mean, if they're gonna make it like a real weapons that with the lights that can, you know, light up or burns inside, because the cool features about the Echo of Toy War Empire side is they're wearing this black armor or weapon that on the external there's this black looking scales, then within there is this volcanic eruption style of artwork that can emit the orange flame and light time to time. This is pretty cool. And finally, we have something that bids with great power comes great responsibility. Don't worry, guys, hear me out, because this is what Bianca says in her speech. With great power, okay, the greater the power, the greater the responsibility. The greater the responsibility, the greater your military pay. So, yep. Okay, what she's saying basically is not wrong. There's like I guess she's sounding out, especially like I can, it actually resonate with me. Like I'm a salaryman working, so I hope that if I'm gonna have greater power and greater responsibility, I'm gonna get better pay. So yeah, that is for Bianca. That is being disclosed thus far. Pretty straightforward. So aside from my guessing, as the currently disclosed character of this person, it's straightforward. As I have mentioned, others fight for glory. Others was forced to fight as they are born at this continent at the wrong era or wrong time. But for Bianca, she was given a different choice, or she picked a different choice. She chose to fight for the military pay. And yep, her dream is that when she retired, she can get a take bonus, retirement fees, and support. So we have come to the end of part one. So I'm gonna let you guys listen to a voice pack and translate to you guys. Then we'll go to part two. Here we go.
龍華護衛官ビアンカ、ご報告に参りました。あなたが私の新しい上司ですか？すごく頼りがいがありそうですね。勤務中はどうぞ遠慮なくこき使って、指示をお願いします。龍華護衛官ビアンカ、ご報告に参りました。あなたが私の新しい上司ですか？すごく頼りがいがありそうですね。勤務中はどうぞ遠慮なくこき使って、指示をお願いします。
So, okay, what she's saying is also kind of a more cheerful and funny. So, what she's saying at the start is Bianca of the Dragon Flame Guard officers reporting for duty. Are you my new superior? Oh, you looks very vigorous. So please, during work time, feel free to exploit. Give your subordinates works to do. So yeah, there's like a loose translations, but the meaning is there. So yeah, so face by face, she's saying, "Yep, I am." If I'm going to do word forward translation, is going to be direct word forward translations. Is going to be Dragon Flame Guard officers Bianca reporting for duty, and after the exclamation mark, you guys can see how it ends face by face. So the second is, are you my new superior? So the third part is, you seems to have you seems to be quite vigorous. Or you seems to be courageous. Then last part is, so please, during work time, feel free to exploit us as much as you. Then she's quickly switched on to the tone of, give your subordinates work to do. So for some reason, she's hoping to get exploited by her superiors, because she feels that, we know her characters now. If she get exploited, she has greater responsibilities. She can get a higher, or she can get a request of higher or better amount of pay. So that's it for Bianca. I gotta say, sadly, because of LLR Sonia that is might be coming soon, and with SP Uria, I had no choice but to skip the banner. But if I have available crystals, definitely gonna pull for this character. This is kind of like it has been a while. We have quite funny, vigorous, active, and funny characters. So alright, that's it for part one. We are now going to part two. Alright, we are now at part two, and good to tell you guys, we have more extra backstories for Bianca and extra stories that perhaps I might have overthink about her characters. So let's go. Part 2. So watch to the end for the translation I've done for you guys. So right, some further elaborations on the backstory. So it is as follows. Bianca was born from a munitions village. She joined the military because of the pay, as the pay is high. She started off from a small patrol unit and slowly being deployed to other department or to other troops and units or team, and has been stumbling on this journey of rising in ranks. But because of this, has kind of trained her to gain what she has this ability for herself today. Finally, or at the end, because of her outstanding performance, she is currently ordered to become the guard officers to guard Sibylle, or to work as a guard for Sibylle. To Bianca, living is the most important target. It used to be. However, after witnessing countless sacrifice in a war, she starts to grow new thoughts. That is to see the final point and meaning at the end of this war. So, okay, perhaps as after further elaborations, hopefully based on all this backstory, Bianca should be not a villain, not a bad person. She is what we were told on these backstories. So yeah, she growing as I said, the munitions village. I'm not sure if it's right. I actually Google translate this word. So long story short, she grew up in the place of village, or the village that she grew up at has been a village that has been kind of like employed by the empire to, like if any grown-ups here, you need to join the army. Yeah, so those people living at the village have to join the army or work for the army. So I'm not sure if there is like the lady have the options to drop out, where only the guys need to. But as they mentioned, she opted to join in the military because of the high pay. Well, high risk, high returns. So she started off small. She originally, perhaps against some of my speculations, perhaps originally she don't have any great skills, but as is mentioned, she started on some small patrol teams. Perhaps it's like those weaklings unit you guys beat on the story. So she started from patrol unit, and for some reason she has been stumbling her way through the whole of the empire, changing and swapping around different units, troops, and teams. And finally, at the end, she has trained and achieved the skills that she has today. And of the latest news, congratulations, she is assigned to be the guard of Sibylle. And it used to be her goal to live on, so that she won't die. I mean, she can live on. That's the target. So after witnessing the countless sacrifice in the war, she starts to have new thoughts. That is to see and witness the truth at the end of this war. So that's all. And with that, we end further elaborations and comes to what you guys want. her talent, skills, and 3C. So right before that, these are her factions: Empire's Glory, Meteor, and Glory of Light. So Empire's Glory is currently not too much unless you play for PvP. I'm just talking about PvP because on PvE you guys can do a handful mix for your group. So Bernhard is currently not in the meta of the PvP. The only one perhaps you can gain is Rapier. So Rapier's 3C, if she can kill off enemies unit, she can copy 3 buff to all Empire's Glory allies on the field. So yeah, perhaps you got to rely on Rapiers killing the enemy. Then Meteor. So currently we have not yet received the Meteor 3C. It has, however, been rumored that LLR Sonia might be a Meteor 3C provider. Even if that's not the case, just based on speculations as of the current way Zilong's work, I'm going to presume that during the New Year or Chinese New Year period, another single banner hero or heroine with faction buff might be released, that which is a similar case as Slina. Then for Glory of Light, that is like the easiest. We currently LLR Chris is still in the meta, able to be support or offensive, and she can either provide faction buff for Glory of Light, or she can just use her unicorn to copy faction buff or any buff to any allies, single allies on the field. So yeah, not big of any issues. And okay, we're now coming to her talent. So the talent is translated as Dragon Fire's Code or Dragon's Fire Code. Okay, the effects are as follow. Number 1, increase attack defense by 25%. Number 2, at the end of a turn, you can cast once Lance Shield Arts from her talent. And the talent provides 2 unique skills. So one is defensive and one is more offensive. So the first one that you'll be able to see here is a defense skill, Lava Solidified Shield. Okay, the effect as follow. You obtained a shield effect. First, you be able to block damage up to 25% max HP value. Second, you cannot be crit attack. Third, you have the command aura effect. Enemies 2 blocks around you cannot trigger act again effect. Then flame offensive flame lens deflagrations or flame lens explosion. Okay, effect as follow. You obtain dragon flame effect as follow. First, increase damage deal by 20%. Second, before initiate attack into battle against target enemy for 2 turns, this debuff effect will happen and is split into PvP and PvE. For PvP, you will cause the armor or cloth effect to be disabled aside from HP value. PvE, enemies will have this debuff effect, increase damage taken by 25%. Okay? Number 3 of a talent. Okay, number 3 of a talent effect is Lens Shield Arts effect lasts for 2 turns and the effect cannot be dispelled. Number 4, upon triggering any of the Lens Shield Arts effect, these skills will enter a CD of 2 turns before triggering again. Then again, we have from the Stone Planner from Zilong. So I do a quick summarize of all the thing is all 3 Dragon Flame, Shield, and Command Aura effect has its own independent effect icon. So the first skills is the Lava Solidified Shield. It gives you shield effect and also a Command Aura effect. This 2 has individual. Then for the offensive Dragon Flame, it's another icon by itself. So hopefully we'll be able to check it, able to see it on part 3. So that's it for her talent, and let us re-go through. I'm going to go part by part. So the first, this is like a greater increment because she gained attack defense increment by 25%. Okay, then number 2 is when you end turn, and if you have not cast or used any of the skills yet, so at the end of the turn when you end turn, you can cast this skill from her talent, Lens Shield Arts. So you got to choose either of the following, 1 out of 2. So the first is Lava Solidified Shield. So Lava Solidified Shield, the shield effect is just very straightforward. It just says you'll gain a shield effect and you'll be able to block damage up to 25% max HP value. Then next is you cannot be crit or you won't receive crit attack. Then third is you have a Command Aura. Enemies 2 blocks around you cannot trigger act again effect. How would I grade that? If we're just talking about the effects alone, it is pretty great. Not to mention if for PvE is no big deals. But for PvP, I guess the greatest thing about this Lava Solidified Shield is giving you a shield. You can block up to 25% max HP value, and second is you cannot be crit. So this is similar to the Reincarnations heroine Hilda. So like a once per turn, but instead of once per turn, this is a continuation effect. Though it lasts for 2 turns. So, but every time you keep casting it, you just regain and or prolong the effect. So this is pretty good. But number 3, or the third effect, Command Aura, that is enemies 2 blocks around you cannot trigger act again effect. It's fairly weak in my opinion because as of the current version or current meta, a lot of characters with act again skills, they tend to be able to act again when they are at a very far distance, definitely further away than 2 blocks. So 2 blocks is not a very good range in my opinion. If anything, I can say it's at least a 3 to 4 blocks range because 2 blocks is fairly low. Okay, so that's it for the defensive effect. Then coming to the second, Flame Lens Explosion. So the buff you gain is Dragon Flame, and just take note, both of these are buff effect. Okay, they cannot be dispelled, but they can be prevented. So if you gain, if you cause debuff effect that you cannot be buffed or you cannot receive buff, this will not work. So this is a buff effect. Okay, Flame Lens Explosion, it's of course a very great deal is you can gain damage increment of 20%, then followed by PvP and PvE effects. So it's pretty cool that they have 2 effects. So for PvP, by default, for 2 turns after taking before you initiate attack into battle, you disable the enemy armor or cloth effect. Aside from the HP value, this is, I guess, it's a killer move against the newest cloth items that resurrect you from AoE once per battle from AoE damage that is being released during Humus Baba banner. Then the second is PvE. So instead of disabling effect, increase damage taken by enemy 25%. So 25% is fairly high. So if you can get 25% to 30% damage increment effect, that would be that's actually pretty nice. Especially for newer players, if you need to start building up characters, you're new to Langrisser, you need characters to give such buff effects in assisting you for fighting challenge stages. This is not a bad option. Okay, then yeah, so the offensive only have two types of effect. So the first is damage increment of 20%. The second one is PvP or PvE. So PvP, you disable enemies' armor or cloth effect, and for PvE, cause them to have increased damage taken by 25%. Then, as mentioned, its lens shield art effect will last for 2 turns. They cannot be dispelled. And upon triggering, so some of the downside is upon triggering either of the effect, you enter a CD of 2 turns before you can trigger the effect again. So you can't do like a long loop unless there's other items that can assist you. If not, the effects from the talent is going to last for 2 turns, and that's all. And last but not least, all 3 icons from either effect and also the command aura effect, they have their own individual effect icon. So this is a good option because if enemy is going to do a lot of dispel effect, there will be more dispel to do. So again, you increase the chance for you to keep some of the effect for her. This means greater survivability for her, perhaps. And that's it for our talent. And do note that the CD is 2 turns is for rank 6. And ta-da! Exclusive skill 1. Okay, it's loosely translated as Grazing Array Defense Assists or Grazing Array Defending. So it's a 1C skill, has a CD of 4 turns, the range is 3 blocks, the AoE type is 1 block. And perhaps it's a good news, correct me if I'm wrong, this might be the first, even though she's not like a pure tanker, but she's definitely one of the first tanker with act against skills. So that's pretty cool. This 1C skill is an act against skill, so this is nice. Okay, the effect as follows. Number 1, target a defensive terrain or ally unit 3 blocks in range. Number 2, teleport to the location closest to the target in range and gain the following effect. First, you will gain immunity effect and reinforcement for 2 turns. Second, you will be able to move 3 blocks and act again and attack again. Third, buff turn you had will not be reduced when you act again. Last but not least, the immunity effect provided is immune to debuff effect, and reinforcement effect is when you enter, recover 20% of max HP. So she get her own version of chivalry. So this is pretty cool. Of course, the downside, as we can see here, is this skill doesn't provide any offensive or direct offensive or this defensive buff percentage. So, but not too bad. It's a teleportation skills. It can be assisting, but for some reason, they do not classify it as a support skills. So it's just a skill. So you can target a defensive terrain or any ally unit 3 block in range, then you can teleport yourself to the closest location near the target. Then after the teleportations, you will gain two effects. One is immunity effect and reinforcement. Both effects last for 2 turns. Then second is you'll be able to move 3 blocks and attack again. And when you act again, the buff turn you have will not be reduced. So this is a greater act again, in my opinion, because it's not you act again based on remaining mobility. In this, I'll say at this point, this is better or if not stronger than Sibley's act again effect. This is much cooler. And not to mention, aside from immunity from debuff effect, reinforcement allows her to at least gain 20% of max HP, though 30% might be a better choice. So that's it. It's pretty straightforward. And kudos to Zilong. This time around, they do mention what the additional effect they gain, what they do. So this is nice. As mentioned here, immunity will be unaffected by debuff effect. Then reinforcement is when you enter, you will heal back 20% of your max HP. Like I said, I would prefer Bianca more. I guess she's more straightforward, easier to understand. You just gotta say it. Perhaps I'm not as smart as I hope to be, I guess. Compared to Sibley, she has like a lot of things to remember, from the skills to her summon skills and the mechanism surrounding it. Okay. Oops. Oh, I didn't know you did that. Okay. Exclusive skill 2, Rock Shoe Defense. It's a 2C skill, CD of 2 turns. The range is yourself. The AoE type is single target. So it has both passive and active skills. So if you hear Rock and Shoe and Defense, you guys might have guessed it. This is her guard skill. Okay, let's go through the passives effect first. Number 1, guard and take incoming attack for allies 1 block around you. Number 2, if there are any ally units 2 blocks around you, you gain the following. First, you revive with 20 HP upon taking a death blow. Second, upon trigger, the revive effect will enter a CD of 5 turns. Whoa, there you have it. And then that's it for the passive. So 2 effects, it's the usual because it's a guard skill. So any ally who stands 1 block around you by default will be guard. I'll say it's still pretty weak. We are now at path to 8.0, and like even though it's passive, the guard is still like 1 block. I was like expecting we should have upgraded to 2 to 3 blocks by now for passive effects. I mean, seriously, we really need a stronger buff up or touch up of tanker units. Okay, the greatest thing is the second effect. As long as there are any ally unit 2 blocks around you, upon taking a death blow, you will resurrect or revive with 20% HP. This is much higher and much better than Sibley's 1%. 20% can still definitely, there's a chance for you to survive an incoming AoE or follow-up of fixed damage. And the last great news about this revive effect, it's not triggered once only per battle. There's a CD for the skills. Yes, it's kind of long. I'll say 5 turns is pretty long. It will be great. It will be like 3 to 4 turns instead. But considering the exclusive skill 1 provide an act again for Bianca, so perhaps it might not be that bad. But yeah, it is pretty cool. So you have a free loop of revive as long as there is allies 2 blocks around you, and upon reviving you gotta wait for 5 turns. So, and these turns can be shortened down from yourself if you keep act again, you can reduce the cooldown, so they are not too bad. Okay, moving on to the active part. Active skills. Number 1, increase guard range to 2 blocks. Number 2, gain an additional undispellable effect known as Rock Guard. So Rock Guard will provide the following effect. First, when being attacked into battle, you can counter attack 2 blocks range attack. Number 2, after battle, you will gain shield effect from your talent. Okay. Third, when guard happen, reduce incoming damage by 20%. Okay, last but not least, extra note from the Stone Planner explanations. Once you gain Rock Guard effect, after you enter close combat or range battle, you will obtain the shield effect from your talent. So I start to see some I won't say see some overall I'll say this is yeah, definitely better than your normal guard, but I see a lot of downside when we are talking about at least 7.0 to 8.0 versions. As of currently, the guard range is still only 2 blocks, whereas we have LRR Papa Vargas 3 blocks. And the second is the additional effect that you gain. This effect cannot be dispelled, but of course, again, you can be prevented if you gain debuff effect, not able to receive buff. So again, this is a buff effect. So Rock Guard, it's when being attacked into battle, you can counter attack up to 2 blocks range. I mean, I gotta say this is better than nothing, but it's still kind of a joke as of this version, like only countering 2 blocks. Dude, we really need to up the game for tankers. I gotta say, at least 3 to 4 blocks. Not to mention your new hero release after the 7th anniversary. Then another downside, you will only gain shield effect from your talent, okay, from the lens shield arts. So you gain the shield effect from your defensive skills of your talent only after the battle. So let me double confirm. Yes, it says after battle, then you gain the shield effect. Like, shouldn't you gain? So again, we really got to go on to part 3 in case there is a last minute change from the long side, as we have seen from Sibley case, like the increment of 90%, base stats to 100%, 120%, and of course, a losing control. So, but as what is shown here directly from the official, it's you will only gain shield from your talent after the battle. So, I mean, so let's say you're not at 100% HP, you're like, less than 80 or 50, but it was at this blow or this incoming attack, or there's a chance that you can survive if you gain the shield before this attack, which will be great, but instead you have to wait for after the attack, then you gain the shield. So it might be useless, like if you receive a death blow attack, especially if it's from a skill that prevent you from reviving. So let's be honest about it. For the past, since 4.0 or 5.0 onwards, hero release, we have a lot of negations of revive effect from the characters. So gaining a shield before battle might actually come in handy, and also as a better way to promote players to pull for Bianca. Okay. And last but not least, we mentioned about when God happened. Okay, so when you trigger God, so this means you got to God. Correct me if I'm wrong. Based on my understanding, is because it says 触发护卫. So this means when you trigger God, then you will gain damage reductions of 20%. So again, this is not very good or direct, because if I, how do I say it? If I know you have this damage reductions effect only when you got for your ally, then why would I attack your allies when I can attack you directly? Am I right? I mean, this is such like an obvious and direct trick. I mean, it's already stated. So when you gut for your allies, then you have damage reduction of 20%. So if I'm trying to attack, I'll definitely skip the allies and I'll go for you directly, especially in the case where I'm a range attacker. So if my range are enough, I'll just go for Bianca instead of other allies. So these are some of the downsides I'm talking about. But surprise, surprise, I gotta say it. Yep, she has both Lancer unit, which only move 3 blocks, and Cavalry unit, which can move 5 blocks. So the Lancer is more on defensive, whereas the Cavalry unit is more for offensive. Then she do not have 1 or 2 exclusive skills, she has 3. So I gotta suggest that she might be the favorite of the 2 for this banner. Okay, exclusive skill 3, Flame Lance Strike. It's a 2C skills, a CD of 2 turns. The range is 1 block. The AoE type is physical single target. Again, it has both passive and active. So, pretty cool. So let's go with passive first. Number 1, if any unit dies on the field, the following will happen for 2 turns. So first, you will obtain Dragon Flame buff from your talent. Second, all passable terrain will be treated as flat land. Third, the above mentioned effects cannot be dispelled. Okay, that's not too bad. But again, it can be blocked, so you cannot be dispelled, but you can be prevented or blocked when you get unable to debuff. So these are effects. So okay, I start to see where this is going. So the exclusive skill 2 will help trigger the effects from your talent. Then same for exclusive skill 3. So this Flame Lance, but you will need any unit. You need unit to die first. And for PvP, it will be on the case usually on turn 2, where the black flame starts to rise or appear at the outer ring of the stage. If you play with characters like Liana or LLR Kreese, there's a chance you'll sacrifice your summon unit, and after you do this, they'll gain this effect. It's actually not, this is pretty, I'll say not too bad, because you gain the damage increment effect and able to disable enemies armor cloth effect in PvP when you initiate, before you initiate attack against enemy. So this is pretty cool, pretty cool. And not to mention, last but not least, all possible terrain will be treated as flat land, so you don't have to worry too much at matches in desert or water, or maps that is full of desert, sands, and water. So all this can be avoided as long as any unit dies on the field. So that's it for the passive effect. So this is pretty cool. Any unit, so it don't have be you or the enemy, and it's a global effect. It just says any unit dies on the field. So you automatically gain 2 turns effect. That is Dragon Flame buff from the talent, and all possible terrain will be treated as flat land, and the effects cannot be dispelled. Not to mention, this is pretty cool. Okay, then followed by the active skills. Okay, the active. Number 1, attack and deal 1.6 times damage to target enemy. Number 2, cast an effect on target enemy you attack. First, the next time enemy is being attacked into battle by skills, enemy skill CD is reduced by 3 turns. Then number 3, before battle, if there are no other enemies unit 1 block around the target enemy unit, after battle, you can move 3 blocks again. Number 4, when you have Dragon Flame buff, the following will happen. First, you increase your range by +1, and second, close combat soldiers unit will attack together. So this effect is for the skills. So again, some pros and cons. And sorry, just now when I read number 2, I kind of stuttered or stumbled because I read it right. The effect is very weird. So let's go through again. So number 1, for 2C skills is not too bad. Attack and do 1.6 times damage to a target enemy. Then second effect is the one that I read as quite weird. It says cast an effect on target enemy you attack, which is the next time the enemy is being attacked into battle by skill, enemy skill CD is reduced by 3 turns. I mean, as a player, when you tell me my skill CD is reduced by 3 turns, I get a feeling that I just use, let's say, Sword Soul. Then Sword Soul is currently at 5 turn CD, but if you try to attack me into battle with skills, I will be reduced by 3 turns. That is, I'll left a skill CD for 2 turns. So correct me if I'm wrong, unless they write it wrongly. If not, this is a very weird, like, it's a benefit. So if there is a chance that enemies survive, oh gosh, we are in for big trouble. Then third is slightly harsh. If before battle, the enemy you're trying to attack, there's no other allies around it, 1 block's in range. After battle, then you'll be able to move again for 3 blocks. So high chance you'll not be able to achieve this, but of course if you can do it, higher survivability for her. Then last but not least is when you have Dragon Flame buff from your talent, this skills, you'll be able to increase range by +1, and close combat unit soldiers will be able to attack together. But do take note that it has not been specifically written here that you will not receive close combat penalty. So I'm not sure because by default this skill is a 1 block range skill. So even if it becomes a 2 blocks range, you automatically will be avoided with the penalty. If not, it may not be as good as it sounds. So that's it for the 2C skills. We're now coming to 3C before we go to part 3 and find out more about the effects. So 3C is a single target mixed with AoE, in my opinion, because it has follow-up effect. So that's pretty neat, I would say, or should I say, I hope it does. Alright, 3C, loosely translated as Scorched Earth Dragon Breath Cannon. Has a CD of 5 turns, the range is 2 blocks, AoE type is physical single target. Okay, effect are as follows. There is no passive, only active. Number 1, attack and deal 1.7 times damage to target enemy. Number 2, dispel 3 buff from the target before battle. Number 3, close combat soldiers you bring will attack together and ignore penalty. Number 4, if you have Dragon Flame buff, then after battle the following will happen. First, deal 0.3 times AoE damage to enemies 3 blocks around the target enemy you attack. Then second is for, again, either PvP or PvE effect. For PvP is disable damage enemies weapons effect excluding HP value for 2 turns. PvE, reduce damage caused by 25% for 2 turns. Number 5, when you have shield buff from your talent, the enemy that receive damage from these skills will have the following debuff effect. First, they cannot move. Second, they cannot guard. And overall, this effect will last for only 1 turn. So, alright, instead of giving both passive effect from exclusive skill 2 and 3, that's only active with additional effect if you have either or both of your talent effect for additional cost, damage, and effects to trigger. So let's go through again. So it's a 3C. Number 1, it attack and deal 1.7 times damage to target enemy. Is a 2 blocks range attack. So before battle, you get to dispel 3 buff from the target. Okay, this time around is kind of weird that the new hero only gets to dispel 3 buff instead of a usual 5 for a 3C. So it's kind of weird to think that we are now at currently, like, 7 years, over 7 years. And third, this time is mentioned here that close combat soldiers you bring will attack together and ignore penalty, and ignore the close combat penalty. So it's actually mentioned here. Yeah. Okay, number 4. So 4 and 5 are the additional effect. So for 4 is when you have the Dragon Flame, the offensive buff effect. So after battle, you do a follow-up damage, not to the target you attack, but to the allies of the enemies that stands 3 blocks around them. That is dealing an additional 0.3 times AoE damage to them. I'm not sure if it includes a unit, but it states you will deal 0.3 times AoE damage to, including the target. So the target and the allies standing 3 blocks around it. Then for PvP, so it has an additional, is PvP and PvE, and all damaged enemies will have their weapons effect disabled for 2 turns. So the greatest selling point I see about Bianca is her effect. So one of the effect allows her to disable the cloth. Oh, the flame lance explosion, that is from her talent. So her talent effect is before you initiate attack, when you have this buff, you will disable the armor effect of the enemy, and if you top it up with this 3C, you will be disabling both weapon and armor from the enemy. So this is definitely the better, if not the greatest options to use for her combo. Then for PvP is the enemies will have damage reductions of 25% against you. So again, ensure higher survivability. So that's not too bad. Then for the defensive, if you have shield buff from your talent, the enemies that receive damage from these skills cannot move, they cannot guard, and the whole effect lasts for 1 turn. So I guess having the shield buff when you attack the enemy, the idea is high chance you'll be attacking enemies like tanker, like either Landers or Papa Vargas. You're gonna cause them to not be able to move and not be able to guard for ally. But this effect only lasts for 1 turn, so it's not as good as if you have Dragon Flame. But of course, if you have both of the buff, that would be great, since it has not been stated that you can't have both of the buff at the same time. I do see that exclusive skill 3 will in a way indirectly allows you to gain the offensive talent effect, or should I say the offensive effect from the talent, whereas exclusive skill 2 will give you, or allows you to gain the defensive effect from your talent. Like I said, the offensive effect is easier to gain because exclusive skill 3 is if any allies that dies on the field, you will obtain Dragon Flame. Whereas for exclusive skill 2, Rock Shield Defense, it's after you cast the guard skills, and only after the battle, then you'll gain the shield effect. So you gotta wait for enemies to attack you, and hopefully you survive after the attack, then you'll gain this effect. So my suggestion is, under normal situations, if you have other tankers unit like Papa Vargas, you just purely use her as an offensive attacker, because it will be much easier to go with. But when all your important tankers has been banned, then perhaps you'll need to pick her and choose her and equip her with the defensive skills, because she has 3 exclusive skills and a 3C, and exclusive skill 2, the guarding skills, and exclusive skill 3, the offensive skills, both of them are 2C cost. So there is no way that you can bring both guard and offensive skills with 3C together at the same time. The only way that perhaps might work is when her exclusive items or her casting ability comes out in the future. So yeah, the 3C icon, shield and her lance working as one, so it forms a freaking cannon. Whoa, that's cool. So right, that's it for that's it for the talent, exclusive skills, and 3C. So whatever I've mentioned during the explanation of 3C, that includes the explanation from the Stone Planner. So that's it. So what did you guys think at this point? And now we'll be going to part 3 and see more understanding of the gimmick and further clarifications with her skills. Here we go. Alright guys, we're now at part 3. And before we carry on, a great thanks donation shared and provided by the Langrisser Data Bank. And sadly, I do a few read through before the start of recording. Before the start of this recording, apparently there have not been any last minute iterations or errata or corrections for her skills. So we got to find out more on the pros and cons and gimmicks of her talent. Let's go. Okay, but before we go through pros and cons, you guys will want to know about the bond, etc. So, okay. Okay, great news for unlocking the bond. She will need Sibley, but that is only for unlocking the defense safe bond, which is again pretty cool. So for all of you PvE players out there, if you're not able to summon both of the heroine at the same time, don't have to worry. You can still play Bianca or Sibley as per normal, just that they might be weaker in terms of receiving attacks, but if you have a proper guard or tanker unit, it shouldn't be affecting your play experience in the game. Then for the power bond or of the strength bond is if you change her to cavalry class and master the cavalry class. So that's all. So this is pretty cool. Good move from Zilong this time around. It's making things much easier for all the fans. So these are the stats. So as you can see, because cavalry, you'll be sacrificing mobility. No, you'll be sacrificing your HP and defense for better mobility. So that's a fair trade. And not to mention, you gotta have slight increase in your skill. Oh, so many assets. Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay, we're talking about the hard bond effect first. So for the cavalry class, is known as Flame Strike Commander. Then the Lancer unit is Dragon Flame Fighter or General. So okay, let's go through the Flame Strike Commander Cavalry class, level 4 and level 7, level 4. When unit HP is below 70%, after going to battle, damage you receive reduced by 10%. Level 7, when unit has 5 buff and above, when it goes into battle, increase damage deal by 10%. Okay, so for your Lancer class at level 4, when being attacked into battle by units with debuff effect, decrease damage received by 10%. Level 7, when you go into battle, when you go into close combat battle, when you're being attacked into close combat battle, increase damage deal by 10%. So if I got to say, I'll pick the cavalry because the cavalry class because level 7 is much easier to do it nowadays because getting 5 buff and 5 buff and above, you automatically gain 10% damage increment. That is like much more generic. Whereas for the Lancer class, only for close combat, then you have damage increment. So I would definitely pick cavalry line. So okay, about her talent, there's not much changes. Okay, but some explanation to go with is about her talents, the defensive, that is lava solidified shields effect. The shield and not able to be crit are treated as are the same buff. So if your shield effect has been used up, your not able to be crit effect will disappear too. So we can check this picture. So I'm going to translate and go through line by line. The first one states shield can block damage up to a max 25% HP damage, comma, followed by unable to be crit, then followed by the leftover amount of shields, and it cannot be dispelled. The second line, despite showing the same icon, the second line shows common aura. Enemies 2 blocks around your range will not be able to trigger act again effect. Again, the effects cannot be dispelled, so that's all. So some things to take note. So as long as you lose the shield or it has been fully depleted, you will automatically be vulnerable to crit damage. So additional downside, I guess. Oh, however, this is great news. So pros, llama solidified shoe can coexist with other shoe effects. They won't be override, so they can stack. So they're considered the third layer of shields protections. So on actual battle, if you have characters like the following, and one of the great example we use is if you have SP theories, the best way to start is to first let theories to give the shield effects to Bianca, so that when enemies attack you, there is a consumption order that the first shield that apply will be consumed first. So in this way, if Tiaris casts a shield on Bianca first, then followed by Bianca using her talent effect, so when you got attacked by enemy, Tiaris' shield will be used up first, followed by Bianca, so you can try to prolong Bianca's own shield effect, and in return also to prolong the not able to receive crit from enemies for Bianca. So this is pretty cool, and of course let's check out further elaborations. Oh, and apologies, some further further clarifications. So there is like a tier grade for the shield too. I just know this today when I get to see this. Well, okay, so first tier, second tier, as again on the top, the tier tang, that is first tier or first gear, second gear, but ignore some of this minor changes. So we just treat it as the first tier, second tier, and third tier. So first tier is for heroines like Humbaba. So the shoe icon is that butterfly. So in order of being consumed, Humus Baba shoe will be the last priority order to be consumed. The second tier will be Abishai and Nonorin, and also the SP trend unit. So you can see there. So you can see these are the icon. So Humus Baba will be the last to be consumed, and theirs is to be a second to be consumed. Then the third gear or third tier, as you can see on the last row, where we first see Bianca followed by Tiaris, then yep, little Chibi, I kind of forget the name, oh gosh, too many characters. ISO Dead, Grand Shu, her dad, Exodus, Evil God, and our Dragon Boy here. So you can see all this icon. These are all their shields icon. So at the bottom is written as the priority first be consumed. Okay, when multiple shield of the same tier exist, whichever shield is being cast first will be consumed first. Oh, however, certain characters shield will still be overlap, like Exodus, Kruger's, and Oboro's shield effect will cover up each other. They won't stack. And in this case, for this three characters case, the one that comes later will cover up. So the later shield will cover up the earlier shields. Oh wow, this is frying my brain. There's so much to remember and learn about Langrisser nowadays. Even shields has priority order. I didn't know that. I gotta admit, well, this is too much. But okay, nonetheless, currently we know Humus Baba has the highest priority, and more or if not most of the characters shields effect can coexist except for Exodus, Kruger's, and Oboro's. But if you're gonna try to maximize or using the best effect for Bianca, that is to let other characters to provide shield effect for her, and she is the last to cast. So the more commonly characters that can apply shields, and as of the current metas, we see here will be, as mentioned, SP Tiaris. Then followed by the second effect of Lava Solidified Shields of causing the common aura effect that causes enemies 2 blocks around you not able to trigger act again effect. It is considered, or this is actually a debuff common aura, is a negative common aura, because this can limit the Scene Washer revive effect as seen here, so you guys can check out. So even though the enemy is using Yumiya, we are not afraid of debuff. Okay, this icon, this is a common aura effect. This is negative, and it's stated here. This can limit this can control the Scene Washer's revive effect. Okay, second we are talking about the Flame Lance Explosions effect. So alright, the text will change when you're in PvP or PvE, depending which one you're on. So only one icon, so you can see the difference is, instead of a shield, this time around you're looking at a fire lens. So let's see if there's any changes. Let me read and go through with you guys the effect again. Dragon Flame, increase damage deal by 20% when you initiate attack, goes into battle. Before battle, you will cause enemies defense armor or cloth items to lose effect, excluding the greatest HP value. Oh, when target enemy is non-player's hero, the effect will be changed to damage received increased by 25%. Effect lasts for 2 turns, cannot be dispelled. Okay, it did not automatically change. They just stuff everything together all in one. And all the effect, whether it's the shield or the dragon or the flame lance, the defensive or offensive ability you gain, both will only last for 2 turns and they cannot be dispelled. Okay. Okay, these are the list of skill set Biancas will have, so you guys can have a quick look through, or you can wait till the actual demo play I will be doing for you guys. Okay, the 3C, then followed by exclusive skill 1, the act again. Then the third one is the guard skills, because you guys can tell rock shield defense is a shield. Then fourth is exclusive skill 3, flame lance strike. Then retro effects, but the effects provided for her is not too bad. She has stunt effect, she has disabled passive effects. Okay, all single target. So right, talking about her 3C first. Scorch Earth Dragon Breath Cannon. So by default, if you do not have any of above, you only receive 3 effect, that is deal 1.7 times damage to target enemy, to dispel 3 buff from the target before battle, and 3 is close combat soldiers you bring will attack together and ignore penalty. So 4th and 5th, if 4 and 5 effect only happens when you're equipped or you gain either of the effect from your talent. Then they will provide additional effect. Oh, okay. So just this is actually a plus for the shield effect. Nothing much for Dragon Flame. Dragon Flame is very straightforward. If you have the Dragon Flame buff after battle, you deal 0.3 times AoE damage to enemies and the target, 3 blocks around the target enemy you try to attack, and also disable their weapons effect. So this is pretty straightforward. However, the other one is when you have shield buff effect, so hopefully it's not a bug, it will not be errata. So it says when you have shield effect, which kind of looks different from what the planner states. Actually, the planner states like from the talent, but from here it's actually stating the shield here. So I'm going to highlight, so sorry for some of the slow and stumbling because I'm trying to clarify. So the text written here and explained here is, at here, the shield we talk about is not just talking about Bianca's talent of lava solidified shield, but include characters like Humus Baba, SP Tiaris, and including the new enchantment shield effect or any other characters that can apply shield to her, as long as she gains shield effect when her 3C, when she uses her 3C, it can trigger the effect of causing the enemy not able to move, unable to guard for 1 turn. Okay, I guess this the picture that I'm trying to show here. Or this is a full form, and when she has both of the shield, and so she have the defensive and offensive effect from talent, all this will trigger. So you disable their armor or cloth items, then followed by weapons items, and enemies cannot move and not able to guard at the same time. So they can still counter attack. It's not they are losing control or stun, so they just can't move. As you can see, the mobility is being reduced to 0. So the key point of her 3C is trying to gain both the defensive and offensive land shield arts effect so that she can achieve the perfect strike. Okay, so talking about exploring about her act again effect, that is you can teleport 3 blocks and then you can move another 3 blocks. So if you choose cavalry, her mobility will become 5 blocks plus 3, 5 blocks, teleport 3 and then move 3, so it's a total of 11 blocks. So this is pretty cool. And after using it again, you can then choose to cast and choose your talent effect, so the CD or the remaining turns will not be wasted. So this is some of the great combos suggested for players to do. So let's check out video again. Okay, get a wait. Okay, let's go again. So now you cast again, you teleport after moving 5 blocks. Then this is where then you start to choose one of the talent. Then you can choose to go attack or defense if you want to. Okay, talking about Flame Land Strike passive effect first. So it's easy to trigger. So has been again clarified. Any unit dies on the field should automatically gain the effect from passive of getting Dragon Flame buff from talent, and all possible terrain will be treated as flat land. Okay, they did not further explain about the CD reductions, but I'm going to read again. It says attack and deal 1.6 times damage to enemies and cast the debuff effect. The next time is being attacked by skills into battle, you will cause the enemy skill CD to be reduced by 3 turns. Wait, I'm not sure if I understand correctly. So if you use these skills against the enemy, so this means, let's say I'm using Bianca and the enemy I'm fighting right now is Landis. So I've used Flame Land Strike on Landis, then he'll get this debuff effect. Whichever of my other ally, which to Landis is the enemy, try to use skills to battle him into battle. Afterwards, all those skills that's being used will have the skill CD being reduced by 3 turns. I'm not sure if I understand it correctly, so if any one of you guys understand it better, do write it down in the comment sections below. Thank you. Yeah, I think this is what it means. Then if this is the case, I'm going to give higher points or higher evaluations towards Bianca. So I mean, if I'm going to purposely use Flame Land Strike against the enemy's tankers, they will not die that easily, so we can abuse and reset our allies' skill CD. Okay, yeah, they have not explained yet, but this is the one they are explaining is about the passive effect that you gain first after an ally dies on a field. So you can see 2 different icons. The first one is Dragon Flame from a talent. The other one is Flame Land Strike icon. The Flame Land Strike icon states when moving, all possible terrain is treated as flat land. not dispellable. Both effects last for 2 turns. Oh, okay, sorry, my bad. It's explained below, so I missed it. Okay, when you initiate attack and use against an enemy with Flame Lance Strike, this effect is a permanent effect, but it can be dispelled, and oh, it will disappear. It's a debuff that will trigger once. It will disappear upon triggering once. So okay, it's not as good as I imagined. So further elaborations and explain here. So it is a skills with no CD, no downtime. It will last permanently until it's being triggered or dispelled once. So yep, this is the benefit to us. So this is what I have finally understand after reading it again. So it's a situation that we're talking about. If we fight the enemy's landers with Flame Lance Strike, then another of our allies try to attack landers with, let's say, Sword Soul. So instead of 5 turns, after attacking landers, the skill will be reduced its CD by 3 turns and we're left with 2 turns. So it's a great offensive and assisting skill. So okay, I'm definitely going to do the corrections at the end for my translations. But okay, this is pretty cool. This is a great skill. Okay, and it's a permanent effect until it's being dispelled, or at least after triggering once. Then the gut skills about the revive effect, it's pretty straightforward. However, if the allies 2 blocks around you has been killed with Bianca at the same time, then the revive effect will not be triggered. This is the same as Sibyll's revive effect with her summon Velociraptor. So if both of them got obliterated or attacked by AoE skills like Black Hole or Earthquake at the same time, if they both die at the same time, then they will not revive. And yep, okay, the guard effect of triggering your talent shield effect, and which in additional give you not able to be crit effect. It's after being attacked, then you obtain it. So it's after. So that's the downside. And like I said, it's the same as what I imagined. The damage reduction effect will only be triggered if you trigger guard for your ally. So if you're not guarding for your ally, you don't have 20% damage reductions. So we can check on here. So the first is revive, the second is increased magic defense 30%, third is the guard effect, so the shield guard all incoming attack for allies 2 blocks around you. Then the fourth is hard rock buff effect. When being attacked into battle, you can counter attack 2 blocks range attack. After battle, you will obtain shield. When you trigger guard, only then you will enjoy 20% damage reductions. The effects cannot be reduced and last for 3 turns. Then the last one is the shield effect from a talent, able to block 25% incoming damage and cannot be crit. So this is the greatest downside. So if you try to use her as a tanker, so she might not be as good. There's a high chance she might die unless you work or combo with her with characters like Tiaris that give her a shield first, so she can gain like a double shield before and after. So alright, that's it. pretty straightforward for Bianca, except for the clarifications for flame length strike about the CD reductions, but everything has been clarified. So yep, we have come to the end, and this is suggested PvE and PvP evaluations and suggested enchantment to use for her in battle. So on the left is Full Moon and Clock for PvE, and for PvP is the new enchantment and Clock. So, and also if you guys can see and split the lines, on the left is a PvP item builds, and on the right is on the left is PvE item build, and on the right is PvP. So that's it. We've come to the end, and whoa, 4.5 stars for PvP evaluations. I'm gonna presume she is almost tier 0, but tier 1 based on just pure evaluations. I'm not gonna say she will really be that best of character. This is just suggestions, evaluation from certain players. It's not like actual fact yet until we have witnessed the S23 or 24 box of the top players. So alright, we have come to the end. Thank you guys for watching. What did you guys think about the abilities of Bianca? So personally, aside from the strength, I gotta say two things, though not every player might like. It's first thing is this time out, the journey or road to 8.0, the first release of this two heroine. I gotta say again, great job Silong. You guys hire very nice voice actress for the characters, and especially for Sibylle, I like the voice actress, fan of Arukwe Bernstein from Tsukihime. And not only that, second is the character design for these two new characters are pretty neat, pretty cool. It's not just about sexiness, but Zong really pay attention to more details, even more fine details for the characters' looks, the clothes, fashions, and stuff. This is pretty nice. Though the downside for Sibylle is Zilong did not draw out the Demi Dragon directly for her. So right, we've come to the end. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys during the actual demo play for the characters. Goodbye.